Hello and welcome to day 7. Thank you, firstly, for being here. I truly appreciate anyone that has watched any of these videos because I love sharing my journey. I love connecting with people, and I love teaching as well. And that's what I'm going to talk more about today, is what I have learned about our mind and our identity, like I've been talking about in some previous episodes, this survival mode that we all have as humans, that we inherit as young kids and then grow up with as young human beings in this world. And so if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back and have a look at those episodes where I talk about our mind. And essentially what it is when we're born, we go into somebody training, and it creates this identity or ego or whoever we are as a person. And it's our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions, everything we do, who we think we are, our religion, our country, where we're from, our name, all this stuff that encapsulates our identity and who we think we are. And I've talked before, it's like a suit, but I'm going to talk today about a prison. And I like to kind of think of it as in our mind there is these prison walls, and there's these bars, and there's a little version of us that lives inside that prison. And that little version of us is our true self, our true nature. Before we go into somebody training, we were born and we have this innate being. But then we go into somebody training, we become who we think we are. And the reason why I call it a prison is because our identity limits us. And I love this quote by Henry Ford. It says, whether you think you can or that you can't, you are right. Because our language, our thoughts, our beliefs determine who we think we are. And who we think we are becomes a limitation. It becomes a prison. And so whether we think we can do something or can't do something depends on who we think we are. And so the mind is such a powerful thing. It will only observe things. It would only take in information. It will do anything to prove itself right about who it thinks it is. And so a great book about this is The Four Agreements. But as we grow, we learn about who we are, and we go into somebody training, and we believe things. And so every time we believe something, it creates another prison wall. And so I might believe that I am Adam, I am not good at sports, or I am not a good listener, or I can't cry, or I can't feel, I don't have emotions. Whatever the story is, like our mind runs off stories. And these stories, our mind believes, and it creates our world. Everything we see the world through this lens. So going back to that prison, the prison bars, we live in the prison in our mind, I like to think of it. And I like that analogy because a lot of what people are trying to sell people is this idea of fixing you, that you're broken. And I don't like that at all, because I oppose that. You are a perfect human being. You're just living in survival mode. You're living in a prison of who you think you are. And so what I propose is that we learn what these limiting beliefs are, what these stories are about who we think we are, and we slowly dissolve those. And we create a new identity, a 2.0 version, whatever you want to call it. And instead of fixing or this idea that you're broken, we're just dissolving these beliefs and letting go of these constraints that are keeping us limited. And so the idea of being fixed or that you're broken is about prettying your prison walls. So you might put up a TV in there, you might get a comfy bed, you might put up some paintings, and it might look really nice. And the external version of that is you might have money and success and achievement, but it all feels empty because it's all a performance. It's not real. It's not who you really are. And that it's that feeling of being trapped by all of it. Like, why can't I break free of this? Why can't I do this? And it's because you believe you are a limited being. It's living in this limited prison of who you think you are. And so the other version, instead of prettying the prison walls, which is just trying to become the best version of a limited self, we don't want to do that anymore. We want to break free of that idea and trying to use discipline and willpower to fix yourself and be better and do all these things. You're just trying to, it doesn't work because you're just trying to fix a limited self. Instead, what I propose is that we dissolve the prison walls. We take down these beliefs about who we think we are, that we needed to survive. It's not that these beliefs were bad or anything like that. It's just not who we really are. And when we dissolve the prison walls, then our true self, who has always been here, our natural self, that is just love and freedom and joy and abundance, it doesn't have the constraints of this identity. Then it is allowed to walk out of the prison walls. And the funny thing is when you walk outside the prison walls, you go into an uncertain world, and that's scary for a lot of people. The reason the mind traps us in a prison about who it is because the mind has evolved to focus on certainty. If it knows who it is, if it knows what it needs to do to survive, that's all it wants. We think the mind wants happiness. It doesn't. It wants comfort, and comfort is certainty. Discomfort is anything that is uncertain, no matter how good for you it is. So something could be really, like getting healthy and getting in shape could be really good for you, but you won't do it or you won't sustain it because it is unknown and it's unfamiliar. And the mind hates the unfamiliar. So you might get a quick break outside the prison walls, or you might get a new, TV or something pretty in there. But it will never last until you dissolve the prison walls and realize that you are not who you think you are. And that can be the scariest thing for some people because the mind will freak out. It will use guilt, shame, all these horrible memories and these emotions to try to keep you trapped in the prison. But that's an indication, that's a good thing, an indication that you're leaving the prison walls. It's trying to cling and grab to try and keep you stuck in there. But it's just about again and again reminding yourself that you are not who you think you are and challenging yourself to leave those prison walls. And the way we do that is really by facing your fears. And the reason we do this is because the prison is one limited reality. When you leave the prison, anything is possible. Everything you've ever dreamed of, everything you ever wanted is there. We like to think that we blame circumstances. When I have this, I will be happy. We think that, by having this next thing, having this next achievement, if my partner was better to me, if my kids did this for me, whatever the story is, if my parents were only just nicer to me, or I got paid more at work, then I will be happy. It's giving up your power to the external world. You're saying that the happiness isn't in you, it's external to you. And so the reason, that's the other model, right? Like that's the prettying up your prison. And so by focusing on dissolving our limitations, instead of blaming the external world, the circumstances, we are focusing on dissolving our limitations. And by focusing on dissolving our limitations, that's where true freedom lies. And it is scary. I'm not saying this is easy, but either is living in a prison and hating your life. So I will talk more about this in upcoming videos and how we can start to dissolve the prisons of who we think we are. But we really just got to hold our identity lightly. And humor is a beautiful way to do that, not taking ourselves so seriously. This survival mode is a part of being human. We're all human. Everyone does this. We're all in this together. We're all on the same journey. No one is immune from this. And so I work every day to provide myself evidence and walk outside those prison walls and create. This is why this is called an extraordinary life, because an extraordinary life is leaving the prison walls. It's going after and focusing on what I want instead of avoiding what I don't want. And it's leaving fear behind. Fear is a creation of the limitations. Without limitations, there is no fear, because we don't have to be someone to get what we need. But it's okay if this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'll explain this more in videos, and it's really about accepting. It's okay. We're all human. We're all finite beings that are going to die, and it's okay. We all have this human condition, and we're just trying our best. Everyone around you, if you can have more compassion for ourselves and compassion for other people around you, then this would be such a much more amazing world, and everyone would be so much more accepting of going on a path of creating an extraordinary life instead of living in those prisons. But let me know what you think. If you're excited to come on this journey too, let me know. I'll be talking more about this stuff coming up. Thank you.